And welcome back. In this video, we'll demonstrate creating a spanned virtual server. Spanned meaning that the virtual server, or VIP, will exist and process traffic on all the devices in the cluster. And we'll use equal cost multipath, or ECMP, to distribute traffic to each of the devices. So first, on each device, we will enable dynamic routing, in this case BGP. So we'll go to route domains and the default route domain 0. We'll go ahead and enable BGP. And for brevity purposes, we've gone ahead and enabled BGP on all the devices already. But we'll go ahead and confirm. That looks good. Next, we'll go to each of the self IPs pointing towards the upstream routers and enable TCP port 179. We'll allow custom plus default and add TCP port 179. And we'll repeat on each of those devices. 179. And 179. That looks good. Most importantly, we'll go ahead and create the BGP configuration. And this involves going to the command line and typing the IMI shell, enable, and we've uploaded the configuration or pre-configured it already, but we'll go ahead and show it. This shows that we have two neighbors defined, 251 and 252, and these are the routes that we're allowing. And we're setting the next hop to be the individual big IP devices in the cluster. So this one will set the next hop to 201 or big IP1, and this one will set the next hop to big IP2 or 202, and this one will set it to 203. So now that we've configured all the unique elements of each device, we can go ahead to a seed device and start creating the virtual service. So we'll go to snap pool list. We'll create a unique snap pool for each device. We can just do this on big IP1 and it'll sync over to the other devices. And we'll create a snap pool .11 for big IP1, .12 for big IP2, and .13 for big IP3. We'll use an iRole to select the appropriate snap pool for each device, and we'll go ahead and create the virtual server. Call it my spanned VIP. We'll set it to an address that is not locally connected. It should be routed only. We'll apply the iRole we just discussed and create a pool. Select finished. And very simple virtual server for demonstration purposes. And you can see we have a virtual server, and it should be synced across all devices. Looks good. And finally, we will enable route health injection on the virtual server. So we'll go to the virtual address associated with that virtual server and enable route advertisement. And we'll also assign it to the special traffic group none, which means it will listen or it'll cause the virtual server to listen on each device. So now if we go to our upstream router, we will see that the routes are starting to appear. Now, the upstream router has 3 equal costs to this virtual server we just created. So going to big IP1, going to big IP2, and going to big IP3. And if we were to drive traffic through it, you can see that each of the virtual servers have 0 traffic configured, or 0 traffic running through it in the stats. Zero. And 0. And once we go send traffic through it, the virtual, we can see that big IP1, if we hit refresh, will now have traffic going through it. Big IP2 will have traffic going through it, as well as big IP3. So all the devices in the cluster are actively handling traffic for this spanned VIP. And that concludes our spanned VIP video. Thank you very much for joining.